All right, here's another question that might be on the test. Each part shows a representation of a different linear function. Fill in each blank with numbers. Show or describe how you got the numbers. Okay, so in part A, we have a linear function in a table. Okay, and then the equation of the function is written in point slope form. So over here, what I have here, I'm just going to write the point slope form just so we can see the pattern. Remember, it's y minus y1, so which means that my y coordinate of my point is 6 equals, I don't know what the slope is, okay, because there's a blank here, times x minus x1, the x coordinate of my point. So far what I know is that my y-coordinate is positive 6. Y-coordinate is positive 6. So I'm probably looking at this point right here, which means that my x-coordinate would have to be 3. So this coordinate would have to be 3. The only other missing thing I have here is slope. So you can always, let me just put this here. So this is your x1, y1. Okay, so that's my point right there. So to find my slope, I can just use 2 of the points on here and then just calculate it using my slope formula. So I don't know, I'll just go ahead and use these 2 points right here. So you know it is y2 minus y1. So the difference between 10 and 6, which is going to be 4, divided by x2 minus x1. x2 minus x1. So this is going to be, I can put it in decimals, but that's 10 minus 6, which is 4. 6 minus 3, which is 3. So 4 over 3 is my slope. Okay. If you want to, you can maybe put the table in here and then just count the slope. Let me just go ahead and show you. So to put the table, you go to plus and then table, and then plug in your numbers. And then if you'd like, you can just count the slope. So it's rise over run, so up 1, 2, 3, 4 over run, 1, 2, 3, rise over run, so 4 over 3. That's exactly what I have here. There you go. That's the first one. So part B says a linear function is shown in a graph. The equation is in y equals mx plus b form. So this is the slope intercept form, right? So this number tells you the slope. And this number right here tells you your y-intercept. Where does the graph cross the y-axis? Well, I can clearly see here that it crosses the y-axis at 2, positive 2. So this number is 2. That's it. And then I can go ahead and calculate the slope by doing rise over run. So it's going down 1 over 1, 2, 3. So it's negative 1 over 3. So my slope would be rise over run. So the rise is down 1 over 3. So my slope is negative 1 over 3. And that's it. If you want, let's go ahead and graph. Oh, by the way, for this, going back to the previous problem, let me go ahead and graph my equation that I have. I'm going back to the original right here. Let me graph it and just check if the line goes through all of the points that I have in my table. Yeah, and it perfectly does. So we know that this is good, okay? All right, for my part B, let me go ahead and graph my equation, sorry. 1 over 3x plus 2. And yeah, that looks exactly like that one, right? So it's 2, it goes through 2, and then looks like it goes through 6, which is goes through 6 here. But then that's the exact graph that I have there. So that looks good. That's how I can check my work. All right, and then the last one that I have here is a linear function is described in words. And then the equation of the function is written in standard form. Okay, so like honestly, this is a good time to like show you why do we even need the standard form. Okay, so before I explain why do we need the standard form, let me just show you how I can get the equation using the words that I have here. Janice buys snacks at school, at the school track meet. She buys bags of chips at X amount of dollars. So the chips are X. I'll just put an X here. And the sports drinks are Y. Okay. And she spends $24 exactly. So if it costs $3 per bag of chips, so 3 times X, plus, and then you're adding $4 per sports drink, and the total amount, so adding, that's the reason why I have a plus sign, is equal to $24. Okay, that's pretty much what a standard form is helpful for that. It just tells you that you have $3 for the chips, and then you have $4 for the bottle of water, and then you're spending a total of $24. And that's about it. Okay? Yep. That's that. Thanks, guys.